Hey, what's up, guys? Jake here with another episode of On the Rise Music Podcast. Today, we are honored to have special guest, DJ, producer, and YouTuber, Ahee. Hey, love your music, man. How you been?
Thanks so much. Great to be on here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're happy to have you. We've seen the stuff you do on YouTube and the music you put out, and excited to get a little bit more and to provide a little bit more of insight to what you do and why you do it, especially for the
I
fans.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So just diving right into it, when was the first, like, were you always interested in instruments and music, or was it something that you picked up a little bit later in
Oh, yeah.
life?
I've been making music since I was 11 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm 33 now.
So you've been
And
doing it forever.
yeah, and so, I've always been obsessed with music. And it's like almost like, how I get to meditate in a way.
Okay,
Like
definitely.
I'm a real big proponent of like what's this idea known as like the flow state.
Okay, yeah, 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 of
Yeah,
course.
where you're just like, you're not even like thinking about what you're doing. You're just like doing it, and it's just like it feels real good. And that to me is like I need that in my life. And so
Definitely.
music and working on music really facilitates a flow state for me.
Oh, of course. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great outlet. I mean, especially since you've been doing it for 11 years, or since you were 11, excuse me.
Yeah.
You understand, and I'm sure as a kid you were just doing it because like you were doing it. But as you got older, you realize like the importance that it has and the positivity, and just like the the role it plays in like your mental health and in
Mhm.
just feeling centered.
Well, I feel like I knew all that all along. I think the main difference is I figured out how to make money doing it.
Well, there you go. I mean, even that. I mean, you grew a
So
little.
that way I could continue doing it.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Now, when you were younger, was it just like singular instruments, or you were like in bands with people?
Um, I originally started off on this program called EJ, which was
Okay.
like this shitty like DAW where you could import like samples only available in
Oh,
the
wow.
the
Okay.
program itself. And so I was making like really cheesy trance and techno music. And I back then I was going by the name Candy Rapper, but spelled
Okay.
with a K and an I.
There you go.
And it was terrible, but like my cheesy 11-year-old self loved it. And I'd make like really bad like hip hop beats and then like say like I remember like growing up I was like I think I was in the Dare program around that time. And so
Okay.
in the music my hip hop beats I'd be like I'd just say random drug names over the beats. It'd be like heroin, just something like oh, that's terrible. Like 11-year-old me, not knowing the
Yeah,
world
just
or anything in the Dare program. Like I know I'm not supposed to say these things.
yeah. So I'm just put them on a track. Like fuck it.
Yeah, it was stupid, but you know, but I that's where sort of my passion started, and then I started learning. Oh, I can record in anything into this
Hmm.
program with the microphone. And then I got obsessed with just recording found sounds,
Oh,
and then
okay.
and just like whatever sounds I had laying around, or
Hmm.
super distorting the mic, like
Yeah.
just doing weird experimentations and shit, and and then that sort of led me. Well, also around that time I was really into punk and metal,
Okay.
and so I eventually got a guitar when I was age 14 and an electronic drum kit when I was 15 because my
Hmm.
dad he didn't want me having regular drums. He's like those are too loud.
Of
So I was like
course.
so I got to play around with these electronic drums and which was sort of interesting and cool because it got me into electronics more.
Oh, of
And
course.
yeah, I started making all sorts of weird metal and punk music with these instruments. And then when I sort of eventually started just getting more obsessed with the found sound and recording in weird sounds that no one had ever heard before. And that
Hmm.
eventually, when I heard this artist Aphex Twin,
Oh,
uh,
okay. Yes,
it
sir. Of
it
course.
led me to a whole new world of what was musically conceptual,
Hmm.
and I was like, the drums are even crazier than the metal drums
Yeah,
in this,
for sure.
and so that got me into that, and then I just started making like IDM beats out of found sounds, and I've I I think now I've released over what am I? Oh, I'm over 70 albums at this point.
Okay.
I've made
Okay.
over 70 albums of content, and like 48 of them are just found sound albums, like hour long.
Oh, okay.
You
Yeah.
know, just I made so much music out of found sounds and like weird IDM things. And then that, that was what I did for many years. And then I went to college. That's what I did. That's how I got into college, is I
Okay.
submitted a track of me throwing a dead bird against various objects. And I sent that in as like, I'm an artist.
Yeah.
Pick me to go to
Yeah.
your school.
What was your like? I'm curious. What was your like explanation? Did it have something to do with like life, death, bringing, making sound, or?
Um, I don't know. I was just weirdo. I mean, I remember I also wrote an essay I'm from Texas,
Okay.
but I went to art school at this place called Cal Arts in California. I
Oh, of
remember
course. Yeah.
writing an essay being like, I want to go out to California to record earthquakes and record music out of earthquakes. And I got accepted.
There you go. Yeah. I
They're
mean,
like, this kid's fucked.
well, they were
We
like,
need
this
him.
kid got something no one else has. Like, we need to take a chance.
Yeah. And yeah, so I did that. I went to art school, met a lot of really amazing people through that program I'm still friends with today. A lot of concepts that introduced me to them. And then I think two major things was, getting to study music from all around the world.
Hmm.
So I got to study from like the Prince of Java,
Oh,
like
okay.
gamelan music, which is the music
Yeah.
from those islands there. I got to study African music, Indian music, like just music from everywhere. I think that really played a part of like my diverse interests that I have now.
Okay.
And then also, I remember in college going to my first psytrance party. Yeah, this Goa Gill guy was he's like, big figure in the psytrance scene, and
Hmm.
he'd take LSD and play psytrance. He'd DJ for like 48 hours straight, nonstop on LSD.
Jeez.
And I didn't I particularly, I don't like psytrance that much, but I could
Hmm.
appreciate parts of like the
Of
production
course.
quality
Yeah, of
and the
course.
imagination. And it was also my first time actually like feeling bass.
Oh,
and
okay.
and, and so at the time it was rather annoying because I was like, I can't sleep. I'm like a mile away in my car and it's still rattling the car. um but then I started going to more like outdoor like desert parties here in California,
Of
and
course.
got introduced to house music that way and drum and bass. And then it just got me into electronic music in general. And then around 2012 I sort of made a shift from making IDM to making more dance music. And then I think in 2016 I actually started getting decently good at it. And that's sort of when my career as Ahee started. People started to actually take notice. and
Oh,
um and then yeah, I just kept on practicing and getting better, and now people know my stuff somehow.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, hearing me from the beginning, like, dude, that's crazy. Like, you were really exposed to you were doing your own thing, and a lot of people don't really realize that you should be doing your own thing to figure
Oh
out what
yeah.
you really like. Like, that's
Yeah.
something that I started just picking up recently, and I'm upset, a little bit upset, and a little bit frustrated with myself that I didn't do it. I mean, granted, I'm only 21, but I wish I had picked it up like when I was 11. Like, that
Mm.
was that, like, for knowing that you were just kind of how you got into college. You were throwing dead bird against everything and making sounds, and having these huge dreams. And it's just like it's really inspiring. It's crazy to think that you can really do what you want if you adopt that principle of just doing what you want, because no one
Mm.
can stop you if it's something really passionate about. Even if it's something trying out, like you said, you went to the side trance parties and it was like you said, it wasn't your thing, but you
Hmm.
appreciated certain aspects about it.
Yeah.
And being as open-minded as possible is going to get you really far. And I mean, even in
Yeah,
the industry,
absolutely.
but in life in general.
Yeah. Yeah. And like we were talking a little bit before, you were talking about how you study history, and
Hmm.
one of my passions also is learning about history and science and space stuff. And and so I've sort of cultivated this mentality of always wanting to learn new things, like even if it's
Definitely.
not just music,
Hmm.
like, but just always, so that way I'm like, I developed the pattern in my brain, like my brain needs to
Needs new
learn new
information.
things,
Definitely.
and I feel like that's helped me a lot to like reinvent myself over and
Hmm.
over again, and also just it's helped me actually get better, you know,
Oh, of course. And
at
that
what I do.
idea, yeah, that idea of just being a constant student will really like enhance just your experience, like just the human experience in general, because you'll be open to more things. Like you said, you were studying from African music, Indian music,
Mm.
to like music from the Prince of I'm sorry, what did you say?
Java, yeah.
Of Java. Like, dude, that's crazy. And to see you produce and to go from making like simple little hip hop beats when you're 11 to making house beats to making like dubstep and the music you make now, like just constantly learning and figuring out like what works. That's the only way you're really going to be successful, not only in the music industry but just in life in general.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and also like, yeah, it's a journey of like, because like there's sort of a difference between being externally successful and being internally, happy with what you're making, you
definitely.
know. And that's something I'm definitely seeing in the industry. It's like I've met some people that aren't happy with what they're making, but they're externally successful,
Hmm.
and but are suffering on the inside, which is it, but then the opposite can be true as well. There's just
Yeah.
this huge spectrum of possibilities as a human being, um,
Definitely.
and but I always. That's something I'm working on definitely during this coronavirus time, since I
For
can't
sure.
tour, trying to learn new things, not just about music, but about myself. And,
Definitely.
like learning like how to manage stress, how to manage my
Hmm.
emotions and things like that. Those are some
Definitely.
things I'm spending some time learning right now. Because I
Yeah.
we
You
got
have
some
all the time
time
in the
doing
world.
this. I'm very busy with all the other things that I'm doing musically, but I feel like growing up, I'm as I'm getting older, I'm realizing those are valuable things, because I'm going to be me for the rest of my life.
Definitely.
My music's always going
100%.
to be changing, but me, I got to work on me too.
Definitely. And like what you said, people can be externally successful, but internally they could be defeated. Like that's one thing that I really started like because I meditate every day, 10, 15 minutes every day
Oh,
for
nice.
the past like since November 11th. That's the exact date I really started.
Mm,
And one of the most recent things, I basically started doing unguided meditations where they give you a prompt at the beginning and then they reel you in at the end, just because of how long I've been doing it. And one of the things a couple weeks ago was talking about being truthful with yourself. Like
mm,
there, you can lie to other people, but when you start hiding the truths that you truly believe in and the reason why you're doing stuff, then you're going to just constantly question why you're doing it
mm-hmm,
and not have an answer for it because you're telling yourself what you actually don't intend. And when I started picking up on that, I started realizing like, yo, I really don't know what I want to do after college. And
mm,
I mean, granted, I have a good amount of time and I'm still really young that I can like just jump around and find something out, do internships, whatever it may be. But for the most part, it's like I want to do something that, yeah, that makes me happy. I want to be internally successful, even if it doesn't necessarily mean in like initially I will be externally successful. Like I
yeah.
have to find my footing and figure it out. Because if you're really passionate about something, like if you put work towards it, you're gonna figure it out, and it's gonna like
Yeah.
success is gonna eventually come.
Yeah. And like you just said, if you go about something that makes you happy, you can figure out a way to make money doing it
Oh,
and turning it into
definitely.
a profession. And then all of a sudden, it's not like you're working,
Mhm.
you know,
Definitely.
I have this sign that I make memes too. Uh, and it's hung up over there, but it basically says you can't get fired if you don't have a job. And it's got this guy thinking like, oh yeah, that's sort of been like my mantra, of just like building my own path.
Oh, of course. And like I've talked to one of my dad's great friends, and he's the CEO of like one of the biggest ad agencies like out there right now.
Mm,
And one of his big things is if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And like building off that sign, like if you
mhm.
love what you do, it's not gonna be a job. So technically, if you love
Yeah.
what you do and put the amount of care and attention and whatever it may be into what you're doing, you can't get fired because you're doing it
Mm.
well, and you're gonna make sure that you are successful. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's not gonna feel like a job at that point. So you're not really gonna hate what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you still gotta put in work,
Oh, for sure. But if you're really
but it's
passionate
you're not gonna be like it's not gonna be as soul sucking as like
about
maybe
it,
a
definitely.
corporate job. Not saying that, people can still be happy at corporate
Oh,
jobs,
for sure.
but it's gotta align with what your values and whatnot.
Definitely, definitely. Now jumping to different topic.
Yeah.
Now I understand that you said 2020 brought a little bit of complications and everything with the whole COVID-19. Were
Oh
there
yeah.
any of your, like, looking back at like the shows that you perform, was there anyone that like was really meaningful to you? Like it
Oh
was it
yeah.
your first show or something that you performed recently, and
Uh,
which one of those was it?
Last year, I played Lightning in a Bottle.
Okay.
I wasn't even on the main. I was going to play one of the main stages this year, which I was so looking forward to. And Shambhala, I was booked for all like my favorite festivals, and it'll probably happen again at some point.
Oh,
But
definitely.
last year I played Lightning in a Bottle. It was like this side stage, but it was on a Thursday night, um, and so all the main stages were off, and so like everyone that was at the festival that liked bass music all came to this stage,
Okay.
and so it was like it was over 1,000 people there, and I played
Wow.
right after Stylist Beats, and
Okay. Okay.
yeah, it was easily my favorite solo act because I used to perform with this other group called Lucent Dossier Experience.
Okay.
They're like a pretty big act. That's sort of like Cirque du Soleil meets Burning Man meets world
Okay.
bass music. Yeah, and all the performers in it are like top notch. It was founded by a couple people, Shrine. Uh, Shrine On, who's this amazing artist, and Dream Rockwell, who's like the main leader of the group currently. And yeah, I got to tour around with them. We did like a big tour, like we toured around in this like giant bus one year. We got to headline the Sahara tent at Coachella
Okay.
one
There you
year,
go.
and so that one was, I think, one of my other favorite ones, just because it was like, we performed for like 20,000 people. I'm up there, just being like, "Oh, I'm on stage. So many people. Oh my god. Oh yeah, we're performing." You know. And so that was a lot of fun, and also because like I really liked working with the people in that group. And so yeah, that was very fun. But I still think I got more enjoyment out of my solo act as Ahee. Um, performing for 1,000 people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, those moments, like you said, they're surreal. Like you were like, holy shit, I'm on stage and I'm performing in front of 20,000. Oh shit, I'm on stage. And you have to like
Yeah,
snap back
yeah,
into it. Yeah,
yeah,
those are moments that no one can take from you. Those are
yeah.
things that you carry with you, and they mean something. Like when you're done, everything's said and done, like no one can take that away from you.
Yeah.
Like that's
But it's so weird because like that's the thing. I think when people see artists, they see them in that 1 hour
oh,
of
for
like
sure.
glory,
Hmm.
and then they think like, oh, this person's life is so amazing,
Oh, definitely.
and they don't think about the rest of the 24 hours or the months or the years that it took to like have that 1 hour,
Hmm.
you know. Um, and yeah, so it's like that's why I'm focusing more just like on all the other hours of my life, and
Of
the
course, of
increasing the
course.
well-being there.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point that you make. A lot of people glorify celebrities, and like I understand that they are, or like even producers, like whatever it may be, artists,
Hmm.
rappers, whoever is in a limelight. But I just like to think about it. It's like they're really just normal people with extraordinary like talents in it, or whatever they're doing,
Hmm.
or just they're just pushing the envelope on something that that normal people wouldn't otherwise think of. And
Hmm.
you have to also, yeah, you have to remember that there is 23 more other hours or however many hours in the day that they have to do just them. They have to do
Hmm.
just their normal name, whatever, like your government name, like that's just who you are.
Hmm.
And they like, I firmly believe that people should start viewing like celebrities. Like, I don't think that they should be worshiping them, but I do think that they should take into account that they are just normal people, and they deal
Yeah.
with issues that I deal with, that just Joe Schmo deals with. But yeah, that's again why, like you said, you've been taking this time to figure out the truth about who you are and what you truly want and everything, and just trying to break down everything that happens up here. So I 100% believe that we should start like normalizing meditation because of the whole.
I
It's
think
like
that's a great idea. I don't do it enough.
it's like a mental workout. Like, if you really
Hmm.
think about it, the only way you're going to get stronger and build muscle is if you work out every day. The only way that you're going to strengthen your mind and be able to get over like whatever lull you're in, or like to break down those anxious storylines, is to meditate. Like, I understand it's different for each person, but you gotta just do it. You gotta just practice, and it'll eventually begin to show.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Yeah, and it's definitely one of those things where you got to look for the long-term benefits because, uh, yeah, that's where I'm trying to look for the benefits is all in the long-term stuff right now,
Yeah, I mean,
especially with all this craziness that's going
the four
on.
walls and everything. It's just, yeah, it's definitely important that that you think that you're part of something bigger, when in reality you get stuck
Yeah,
like in your mind or in your
yeah.
house, wherever
Though,
you're.
though, though I don't have four walls in this room.
Oh.
I live in a dome.
Oh, that's even
It's
better,
if
honestly.
I show you the ceiling, you see it's curved.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I live on a farm out
Oh,
here
okay.
in Southern California, just because I lived in the city of LA for a decade, and I love it,
Oh, definitely.
especially the culture. But um, it's so nice just being out with. There's like so much more mental space out here,
Oh,
and like
for
I can
sure,
we
for
can
sure.
garden. We've been eating a lot of our own zucchini and cucumbers
That's
and
what's
we've got
up.
chickens here and
There you
we
go.
eat
Free
the
range
eggs from
eggs.
that,
Yeah.
and it's amazingly cheaper, you
Oh,
know.
definitely. On it. That's honestly, being completely honest with you, I'm not even lying. This is happened in my, like, a couple of days ago. I've started thinking about like owning a farm when I get older, because I
Mm-hmm.
was like, you make your own food, you grow your own food, you raise your own chickens and like all the animals that you want to eat, or
Hmm.
that you like get products from, like eggs, cheese, whatever it may be. And you do it on your own. Like, if you don't do it, you're not gonna eat. So
Hmm.
it's like, that's the external motivation to get it done. And you're in nature. You get all the stuff done in the morning, or like you have a certain amount of hours or whatever set aside for chores, like tending to the field or whatever, and then you just relax the rest of the day. And
Yeah.
I know it would be a little more expensive to do, so I was thinking of doing that, like maybe a little bit late, like getting my money like solidifying everything and then doing that. But like, no joke, I've been talking. I talked to my girlfriend about it, and she was like,
Yeah, food security,
oh,
you know,
definitely. Especially
and,
especially when jobs like are scarce, money's scarce. Like, it's right
and,
there.
and it's also just so satisfying when you like, oh, I'm watering the seed, and then you see it grow into a
Mm-hmm.
thing, and then you see it fruit, and then you eat it, and you're like, I watered this thing, and now it's feeding me.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
and they're the best cucumbers.
Oh,
Oh,
I
so
believe it.
good.
I
So
believe
they're
it.
the crunch.
The
All
crisp.
right.
Oh man. Yeah, my
What'd you get out
grandpa.
of the interview? He talked about his cucumbers.
Yeah, my grandpa was, he grew up on a ranch, and he had a little farm in his house, or not a little farm, but a little like garden area for his at his house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, God rest his soul, he passed away, R.I.P. Great man.
Okay.
But my grandma and my uncle are taking care of it right now. And yesterday we went over to their house, and my uncle gave us the head of cabbage. And he's growing chilies, he's growing tomatoes, he's growing all this stuff. And my grandpa used to grow watermelon, he used to grow squash. It's like, dude, this is crazy. Like, you can, like, how satisfying that feels to make a meal out of the stuff that you put your sweat and hard work into. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's so satisfying compared to, I'm not, like, again, we mentioned earlier, like, if a corporate office is what you like, a corporate office is what you like. But
Absolutely.
like, feeling like you're actually contributing to something, and putting like that man hours and those those hot summers, whatever it may be, cultivating this and watering the plants and whatever it may be. That's so satisfying, like just like for your mental health and just for everything. Cause you're like, wow, I really
Yeah. Yeah. I go out there when I water them. I'll like listen to podcasts and whatnot.
definitely, yeah.
That's why I like doing. I'll listen to Mr. Bill podcast is really great. I don't know if
Okay.
you've checked that one out.
I'll definitely check it out now.
Yeah, it's got some really good episodes in there, and I'll listen to Joe Rogan or um, other podcasts or like History Channel things or
Mhm.
science podcasts. I'm a huge science space enthusiast. I love learning. I've been tripping out about gravity waves recently.
Okay.
Are you familiar with gravity waves?
I I learned about it when I was in like sophomore in high school, so not like super familiar.
Okay. Well, gravity waves, they haven't even been able to detect them until like the end of 2018.
Oh
It's
shit. There's all
basically, yeah,
speculation
it's
then
like
when
some
learning
new
about
shit.
it.
Yeah. I love learning about all the new shit. It's basically like when two black holes collide, it creates such a huge force that it actually creates a ripple in space time itself.
Oh shit.
And those ripples pass through Earth, and they basically have this long ass vacuum tube with a laser going through it, and when the ripples pass over Earth, it changes the amount of time it takes for the laser to go through the tube, and
Wow,
so
okay.
they can measure it that way.
Oh
And
shit.
but what blows my mind is that it means that gravity is a wave, and so all the other aspects of
Mm,
waves can be applied to gravity. And the one I've been obsessed with is applying the concept of applying resonance to gravity,
okay.
because
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I don't know if you've ever seen, but I say "What's up, aliens" all the
No,
time in my
yeah, yeah, yeah,
videos.
yeah. Actually,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So I'm always thinking about aliens and UFOs too, just because I love all things space
Of course, of
related.
course.
And so I was thinking like, maybe that's how UFOs work, is that they are because like all things in the universe that have mass create gravity. Anything with
Mhm.
mass creates gravity, and so the UFOs are ambiently resonating the ambient gravity
Okay.
of what's around to increase the gravity in a particular direction. And so instead of being launched, they're falling
Yeah,
in a
okay.
direction.
Yeah, that's interesting. That gave me chills just thinking about it.
Right?
Yeah, it's
That's
really
been
cool.
I've been obsessed with that lately.
Okay, I see why. I mean, holy shit. I was just you were explaining and I was like, "Oh shit, that's really interesting."
Right? Yeah, it's just like all the other properties that you can apply to waves can now be applied to gravity.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's there you go. You wouldn't have known that if you weren't just out there watering, farming, doing your thing. So
Absolutely.
it's it's definitely a beautiful thing.
So
Uh,
yeah, I'm out there watering cucumbers and thinking about gravity.
yeah, hearing
And
how,
then come back and make dubstep.
or even teach someone or give a tutorial on YouTube or whatever it may be. Now, like the whole YouTube aspect of everything. Excuse me.
Yeah.
When did that come about? Like, were you just one day making music and you were like, I could, like, because you've been doing it since you were 11, where you like, I can teach somebody because I've gone through
Mm.
everything.
Well, I've always wanted to make a YouTube channel. I've been wanting to do YouTube since 2009.
Oh,
And
okay.
honestly, I just was lazy and about that particular thing. And I just started doing it last year. And my real first video was me breaking down, dissecting the Skrillex Ableton video.
Okay.
So Skrillex posted a video of his Ableton project, and so I made a video just later that day and uploaded it the next day, sort of breaking down particular aspects of it. And the main thing that I pointed out was this his bus routing within his Ableton project, and it was something that no one else had pointed out about
Hmm.
the video.
Okay.
And so that's sort of where I got a lot of my notoriety real quick, was being the person that spilled the beans on that in a way. And yeah, and then after that I was like, oh damn, there's so many people that like watch this and have subscribed, so I'm just going to keep on making more stuff. And I feel like because I've spent so much time actually learning things, that I have a lot to talk about in a
Of course.
particular way, because I feel like maybe if I had gotten into doing YouTube stuff earlier, like I wouldn't have explained like the concepts in the same way, because I've learned so
Okay.
much more since then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I feel like, yeah, definitely I understand the concepts on a deep level, rather than when I was just first starting, when I was fucking around, you know.
Yeah, you had no idea why you were doing it. You're just doing it because it sounded great, and now
Yeah.
you've been through the trial and error phase and everything. So yeah, you're older. You understand. You're like, oh, okay. This is the technical term for this is whatever it may be. So yeah, it's
Mhm.
easier to explain.
Yeah,
But
and also I've screwed up enough that like
definitely.
I know how to explain the bad examples. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that definitely comes with experience. You like I know when I was younger and I would screw something up, I would just be pissed. I'd be pissed at everything and I just wouldn't ask like, what did I do?
Mhm.
But looking back on it now, like I can get a bad grade and I'll just be like, fuck, like what happened? What did I do? Go talk to the teacher and you figure it out.
Mhm.
So yeah, I definitely agree that I mean waiting was definitely a good choice of yours because you unconsciously you push yourself to learn a little bit more and understand like your mistakes in a more mature way. So now it's paying off for you.
Yeah. And yeah, so I've just been enjoying doing that. And then also I get a real enjoyment out of helping people.
Of
Like
course.
I really like when I get messages all the time being like, "Oh my God, this helps so much." I'm just, yeah, awesome.
Yeah, might as well pass on the knowledge.
The world's a little bit happier.
Definitely, definitely. And yeah, we had another producer on here that was talking about his like YouTube tutorials and everything. And I honestly I think what you guys are doing is so beneficial. Like you said, someone will hit you up and be like, "Hey, you helped me so much." Like there are people who genuinely don't understand, but they don't have the funds or whatever it may be to go out and get technical training. And this stuff is
Mm,
perfect. YouTube is a beautiful resource, in my opinion. It's quick, it's easy, everyone has it as long as you have like a device or internet. Like
mhm,
you can sit down if you have a 5 minute period of doing nothing and watch a quick video and just like soak up information that way. And what you're doing is great, man. You're passing on knowledge that you had that's like helping out people and like just teaching people, in my opinion, is so beneficial. As much as I can, I try to show people where I went wrong
mhm.
and explain to them how they can learn from my mistakes as well as like try their own thing or whatever works for them. And yeah, like whatever, like more power to you, keep doing your thing. I mean, you definitely know that like
Yeah.
that's what you're doing is making the world a better place, you little by little.
Yeah, and also, I've found that like through that I can like sell my Ableton racks,
Okay,
and uh,
definitely.
uh, it's me basically like, well, how can I make money doing this, and how can my money making actually help people?
For sure.
And so like me trying to come up with tools to like expedite someone's production process,
Hmm.
and or just like things that you can just throw on and it just works. You don't necessarily need to understand it, where it's just like, this makes this better, and then you can go through and dissect it and learn that way. But yeah, I just it's worked out well in that case.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you want to put out a product that's mutually beneficial for both the provider and the receiver. Like you said, like if there's like your Ableton kits, they understand it because you explained it a little bit in a video or whatever it may be, and you're like, hey, like I'm doing this for you. You want to buy one of my kits? Support the the process. But yeah, you're totally, yeah, you're passing on information, but you're still making money off it. Like again, something that you've always wanted to do, like music production, something you're passionate about. It doesn't seem like a
Yeah.
job, so you can't get fired from it. So yeah, I mean, what you're doing is very beneficial, and we definitely need more. We definitely need more people in positions like you, or just positions of like with a lot of knowledge, that would be able to pass it on to whoever like needs it and whoever wants it. Like
Mhm.
when I experienced a really shitty professor. The dude was really smart, but he was just such a dick. Like he didn't want to share his information. He was just like,
Mhm.
figure it out. When you get to my
That's not a
level,
teacher.
no, definitely not. Especially
Yeah.
like in college, like give me the information. I'll soak it up and I will do what I
Mhm.
can. I'll ask you questions, but like I need you to do your part because I'm trying to meet with you, meet with the TA. TA was the same exact way. It's like I'm
Mhm.
trying to meet with you, meet with the TA, better myself, and you're over here in a high tower acting like you're better than me because you have what 70 plus years of experience doing exactly what you've been doing, and I only
Mm.
have like, realistically speaking, 8 years maybe. Like,
Mhm.
come on, I need help. So definitely, I agree. Just little things like that, and passing on information to those to people
Yeah.
that genuinely need it.
Yeah, and you know, there's some artists that, you know, they feel the need to, you know, safeguard their like secrets and their
Hmm.
techniques and whatnot. And I've just never felt that way because like I feel like all the secrets are, you know, my soul, you know,
Of
like my
course, of course,
expression, and just like teaching the production aspects is like, you know, it's just teaching people how to better express their what's inside them, you
definitely.
know. And also I feel like by doing that it actually helps the scene get better. People are
Oh, for
making
sure.
better music, you
You're
know, and
pushing each other.
therefore more people are actually interested in the genre or the just like the style of music itself, because people have access to the to actually being able to do it. You know,
Definitely.
there's like that there was that like drum and bass sort of, I don't know, I'm not sure if I can really speak on the truth of the history of drum and bass, but I've seen in just like the way it's discussed online that uh there's like a lot of safeguarding around like drum and bass, and so
Okay.
the scene didn't really take off that big in America as much as like dubstep. A lot of people were sharing production techniques on dubstep.
Mhm.
Now I'd say it's actually starting to shift, and there's starting to be a lot more interest in drum and bass. And I sort of see in the future like this fusion between dubstep and drum and bass.
Okay,
And
definitely.
that's where I'm starting to see music go. At least that's where my musical creativity is taking me, is like fusing elements of drum and bass and dubstep.
Yeah, I mean, you're a teacher, so if you start teaching that, it'll definitely take off, being completely honest.
Yeah, I've been making a lot of like 160 BPM like tracks that like one drop is dubstep, the other drop's drum and bass, because at
Okay.
that BPM you can get
Yeah, you can.
away with both
Uh-huh.
vibes. You know, you can still do the headbang vibe, or you can do the head
For
nod with
sure.
the drum and bass.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. What honestly, what I thought was really interesting that you mentioned is, like, why not teach people? If you have like if you like you were you hiding a secret? Like, being real, like realistically thinking, no one's gonna be you in your production. Like, no one can copy
yeah.
what you have because you're Ahee. You're not Jake. You're not whoever. Like,
Mhm.
you are you as a person, and you're an individual. So yeah, why would, like, yes, they'll sound like it, but it's because they learned from you. It's not because they're trying to steal what you have. They literally just want to understand what you're doing and to maybe improve on it in their aspect, or maybe even do their own little twist to it.
Yeah.
Like, people just want to, like, if you like, okay, let's say for instance, like, I've been playing baseball since I was like 5 or 6, and
Mhm.
I've gone through many pitching coaches. I'm a pitcher, so I needed a little bit of like fundamentals and just the basics to figure out how to pitch. I've gone through like 3 to 4 different pitching coaches, and one thing that I really realized about all of that was, which was recent, as funny as it is that each coach had a different style, but
Mhm.
I've taken each style that they've taught to me and I've kind of made it my own. My most recent coach was the most influential. And I see myself doing everything that he told me. And now that it clicked, it's a little late because I'm just doing it for fun. But it clicked now. And I'm like, wow, I'm really glad that I was able to have those 3, 4 different coaches and to see different aspects of what they taught and to understand now because I'm older. I really wish that I had taken or been a little bit more, paid a little bit more attention when I was younger. But I mean, I was
We all
younger.
feel that way.
Oh, definitely. But looking back at it now, like, yeah, I didn't become one pitcher because of one. I didn't become like have one singular style. I was learning because of all the different 3, 4 styles that they taught me. And it's just like you said, like, you're not like, there's no reason to hide what you have because you can help people and you can let people grow. So yeah, whatever you're doing, man, keep doing it. Like, you're really helping a lot of people out.
That makes me happy to hear.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you with your music, like, you have 2 different avenues. You got the actual production that you're putting out music, and you're getting streams on that, and then you got your YouTube videos that you're getting streams on too. you're doing what you love, and quite frankly, it's paying off. I mean, you're living on a farm too. You're
I
doing
hope so.
your thing.
I definitely feel like um, I feel like it's so weird, especially here in COVID. I feel like it's like sort of a I don't want to say I'm better off, but like, I've set myself up for a certain amount of success,
Definitely.
based upon my past decisions and
Mhm.
actions. Um, but things are always changing,
Oh, for sure.
and that's sort of part of the process is just having to reinvent yourself over and over again,
100%.
and to reinvent like what you think will work, you know
100%.
and that's sort of what I'm going through. I'm spending this month like for instance, like we were talking earlier about always learning new ideas. Like this month I'm spending time hiring other like one of my old professors who's like a Grammy winning mixing engineer.
Okay.
I'm going to pay him to like help like go through the process of mixing a track with me, so that
Okay.
way I can learn from just a completely different, because I feel totally comfortable mixing my own music. And then
Oh,
that's
for
sort of
sure.
when
Of
I
course.
realize like, oh, I need to push myself out of my
Any
comfort
outside,
zone.
yeah, any
And
that third party
yeah,
voice.
yeah. So I need a different perspective,
Mhm.
because I feel comfortable.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to get complacent because when that happens, you lose your edge.
Mm.
You're like, okay, I'm doing my thing. I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing. It's like, no, like you might may be successful for a short amount of time, but yeah, you definitely have to just keep reinventing yourself. I mean, great example, but of that exact thing is, I mean, excuse my language, but Kanye West, like he has literally, like, I'm a huge fan of Kanye West because every album that he's come out with has been a different sound. He has reinvented himself. He's pushed himself. He's managed to stay relevant for over what, like eight, like 16 years, something like that. 15
I
years?
do not super. I don't know his catalog that well, but I see what you're saying about him staying relevant throughout all that time. And um, yeah, so I see and I respect that absolutely.
Yeah,
I
he's
guess in my world, I see that in Skrillex.
definitely.
It's funny they actually made a collab
Yep,
with each
yep.
other recently.
That was a good song. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Huge
and
fan of that one.
so yeah, there's definitely something to be learned from anyone, in that regard, from any genre. That's why I like listening to genres that I might not necessarily like understand at first.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
you
I'm the
know
same exact way. I just drop me into the middle of something. Eventually I'll begin to, like, oh, okay, I recognize this. I recognize this. I recognize it.
Mm.
Oh, I like this. What the hell? Like, it
Yeah.
just happens. But my friend put me on, or my friend puts me on to, like, experimental hip hop that isn't necessarily even hip hop. It's just like, because they have no category for it, and they're inspired by
Mhm.
hip hop artists, so it's just called experimental hip hop. But yeah, same thing. I didn't listen to it. I didn't listen to it, and all of a sudden, like, I just started playing it over and over again, and I was like, "Wow, okay, this is actually pretty good." But yeah,
Mhm.
you kind of just gotta be dropped into something and have an open mind to learn about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. Well, I could chop it up with you all day about everything. I mean, we've talked about it all. But I know you're a
Oh
busy
yeah,
man. You got to
we've
go out.
gone almost 50 minutes.
Yeah, you got to go cultivate. You got to go plant water. You got to go look after your farm, produce some music, make a YouTube video, whatever
Got
it
to
may
water
be.
the beats and make beats.
There you get exactly. Water the beats and make beats. So I have, like, one final question. It's
Yeah.
more so a two-part question.
Mhm.
First question is, what is one piece of advice you would give to an up and coming producer, DJ, whatever it may be? And second part to that is there anyone that you're listening to right now or working with right now that you want to give a platform to? Go ahead and just give them a shout out.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of advice on my YouTube channel, which maybe there'll be some link
Oh
along
yeah,
with this to it.
definitely.
And I cover these specific topics. One is a video called "How to Make Any Beat Ever," and it's basically like tracing someone else's beat and copying it like drum for drum.
Hmm.
And I that helped me out so much,
Okay.
like going through that process, because you break down someone else's creative process, and I learned a lot by doing that. So I think that's super helpful for producers. And then I have this other video that goes over like how to use this program called Span, which is like a spectrum analyzer, and I use it to like analyze other people's tracks. And so again, I learned a lot about people's mixing decisions through just studying their tracks and listening to
Okay.
only the low end or the high end or just the side content or just the mono content. You
Hmm.
actually, it's amazing how many of the secrets of somebody's track is actually in the track itself. If you just sort of take away certain information, you can hear the
Oh,
contrast and
definitely.
whatnot. So that's why I'd say in that. As far as giving someone a platform, well, my friend runs a record label called Dome of Doom Records, and there's a lot of really great indie musicians, like beat makers, that release on there. Um, it makes some really awesome music. They just released. I mean, he's pretty decently well known of it, but DMVU. He released
Okay.
like uh, a more melodic album on Dome of Doom that was really good. That wouldn't necessarily have been released on like a more major label.
Hmm.
Um, there's like my friend Timo, goes by Gnome Beats. Super awesome. And what else is there? Yeah, there's a lot of really good artists on there. I've also been listening, like this particular week, I've been listening to a lot of like 160 music, like Juke. I was listening to
Okay.
the catalog of Worst Behavior. Um, and then what else? What have I been really enjoying? Um, uh, yeah, I'm always just sort of looking at like what artists make that aren't their most popular tracks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
as you find some like really interesting ideas in there, because like someone can be known for something, but then like they make a different style. You get to see a different side of them. I've been
oh for
really enjoying
sure.
that. Even like with super popular artists, like I don't know, like Zed, for instance.
Okay. Yeah.
He makes like pop, electro house kind of stuff,
Hmm.
but he actually has he has this breaks track. It's so good.
Okay. I'll
It's called
check that one
Adrenaline.
out.
Uh, and yeah, it's just like things like that, or even like Zomboy. I got on a breaks kick, and like Zomboy's got a breaks track. I think was like not as popular as the other songs on that album, but those are from a couple years ago though. Yeah, and I guess can I plug one of my own?
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, so I have my first single coming out on Circus Records,
There you
which is
go.
Flux Pavilion's record label. It's
Okay.
a collab with this Canadian artist Defunk,
Okay.
and that's going to come out on August 25th.
All right. Mark my calendar. Then make sure the fans get that too.
Yeah, and I'm super stoked on that. I just got the artwork back. It looks super super awesome. It fits my brand. Uh, I'll say that. And yeah, and some other things I guess I can't say those other things, but yeah, other really exciting collabs and remixes for some artists that I've looked up to for a long time. So
All right then. You heard it from from someone who's been doing it for a while. Thank you again. I want to give a quick shout out to Ahee for coming on and just spilling the beans, like just talking it up, whatever it was. Like I had a great
absolutely.
time. Don't forget to follow Ahee on Instagram. That is at I am Ahee, all one. Don't forget to look him up on YouTube. We'll link the YouTube in the bio of this video for some more dope tutorials on just music in general, and even like you said, some of his best advice pieces. And one last thing, don't forget to like and subscribe on the rise, and don't forget to turn on those notifications to get the notification for our next video. Again, thank you, Ahi, for coming on, and peace out, guys.
Absolutely. Peace, aliens.